Awesome. All right. Brad Hughes with me today as we're doing our admin recap of our meeting, which for the July topic, staying on point. And Brad, it was amazing to see everyone in person, all their wonderful faces on the admin mastermind this morning. So how was it for you?
It had been a minute since we reconnected with our friends and colleagues at our mastermind. So this is Teach Better Admin Mastermind every Tuesday morning, even throughout the summer. Josh, 9 a.m. Eastern. And you can contact either of us for more information, or you can go over to teachbetter.com/mastermind. If you're not yet a mastermind member, it's free, it's valuable, it's connective, and it's a lot of fun too. So wonderful to reconnect with everyone and see how summers are shaping up, and also to know that as school leaders and administrators, I mean, our minds continue to hum with the hope and expectation for the new school year, while also getting in some much needed R&R.
Oh, for sure. And so we hit 3 different questions today, and that was like the bulk of our conversation. So the first one was how to prioritize our tasks and responsibilities, and really trying to stay focused because it's really hard as a leader. And so some folks, provided some really important strategies. So what was your takeaway from, what leaders were talking about today in regards to prioritizing the tasks?
The first was to get clear on what our priorities are, and we're using the possessive our intentionally, because I think as school leaders there may be a risk of being misunderstood or misinterpreted, that the school priorities, the learning priorities belong to us. They're the leaders' priorities. That all depends on how they're crafted and how they're communicated. A couple of our admin colleagues were talking about how these goals are crafted together with colleagues, with faculty. And so it's not my goal, Josh, or your goal. It's our goal. And then as those are crafted and shaped and communicated, then we as school leaders have the incredible opportunity to continue to build momentum towards reaching those goals. And then we also have the responsibility, of course, with love, care, and concern, but to help hold each other to high expectations and standards and accountability in terms of making sure that our goals we're continually reaching towards them, because they impact kids. So it's getting clear on what our goals are, and then finding ways to motivate and rally support as we engage in professional learning towards those goals, but also protecting our time as school leaders. Josh, that was a big point of conversation, was how we can respect and protect our time so that we can stay focused on the focus.
Yeah, for sure. And so some of those strategies was, whiteboards in the office, making sure that they had planners and schedules, using programs like Evernote. So a lot of like practical tips that administrators are using every day to make sure that they're prioritizing and making sure that it's like visible for themselves and for other people. But then to your point, the second question was, what strategies do you use to minimize distractions, which is extremely hard. So what were some things that were brought up today for that question?
I think one of the key challenges that we were batting around was challenging the idea that we as school leaders need to have an open door policy. We, of course, want to be available, responsive, receptive when people need us, but we also know that quick questions are almost never quick unless we make a commitment to receiving the question and then making some kind of agreement to circle back around on the answer, because our days can turn on a dime. We're walking one way and a bell rings, we're walking the other way, or we're anyway, it can turn on staff needs, student needs, family needs, community needs, and what we need to do is to protect and carve out and make expectations clear around closed door time. Our colleague Danny Bauer, Better Leaders, Better Schools, really encouraged us to think critically about whether an open door policy is actually helpful for us, because people, all educators, need to know that their time devoted to keeping the focus on the focus has to be protected. So whether that's carving out some time in your schedule, or there's a sign in your office door, or you're working with your office administration to let people know when you might be available to have a face-to-face conversation. Lots of great ideas, but it all comes down to setting loving and consistent priorities and boundaries on our time, but also as a school leader, extending those boundaries and priorities to our faculty. That could be around the use of email, Josh, either before or after school hours. If we communicate that we are not checking our email after 4:30 p.m., for example, as one of our colleagues said, that also extends that grace and that permission to those that we serve. Just making sure that we stay available and stay connected, and that if we have to circle back, we're taking that opportunity to circle back and to earn and to reconfirm that trust that your time is important as well as your questions are important too.
Yeah. Main takeaways for me was setting expectations, creating those boundaries, with the staff. If you're in a classroom, it was stated like turning off your radio. If people are trying to, get your attention with that open door policy, to schedule an appointment so that you're intentional about that time with them. So loved what the administrators were talking about today in regards to minimizing distractions as much as possible, because it's really hard to maintain your focus to stay on point. So last one is, how do you effectively communicate your priorities to your team? Because that's really important. Communication can be such a difficult thing, especially in a busy time during the year. So, what were some things that were brought to the attention of other administrators in this meeting in regards to communication?
One of our admin colleagues talked about how she shares her campus priorities right in her email signature, and this was as a part of, or as an end result, Josh, of a carefully orchestrated process where this administrator was involving faculty members and other stakeholders in developing and coming to agreement on 3 big goals. She calls them WIGs, wicked important goals. And I thought that was such a wonderful tactical, but also, community focus, including it in your email signature, so that with every communication, whether it's internally or externally, you're communicating what the faculty and what the school and what the district believes. And it also is a visual reminder, because she included incredible graphics that she designed for each of these WIGs. And so just keeping those things top of mind for ourselves as school leaders, but also for anyone with whom we interact, is a wonderful strategy. So just making them clear, getting clear yourself. We talked about the concept of sort of like an elevator pitch. If a colleague or a superintendent asked you in 45 to 60 seconds to say, hey, what are your top 3 goals and how are you working to operationalize them? As school leaders, we better be ready to answer that question. And if we don't yet know the answer, we want to be able to craft that together with the people that we serve.
Yeah, if it's important, it needs to be visible. So loved what she was sharing in regards to, putting it in the email signature and the s'mores, all the different communications, social media, whatnot, to make sure that everybody's on board with the initiatives that they've all agreed upon. So I thought that was extremely powerful. Again, if you need support, we are here for you. But then also every Tuesday morning, make sure that if you haven't signed up for that, I know a lot of people are on YouTube checking this out too. If you are an administrator looking to join a community that is there to help out in any way possible, this is a powerful group. I love these sessions. People are sharing different techniques, but then also saying, if you want to expand, if you want to meet, they're so loving and supportive, because they want what's best for you, for your campus, for your community. I just love this group so much. Brett, it was great to see you this morning. It was great to see all the wonderful faces. I know we took a little hiatus, but we are back and strong, and I'm looking forward to this topic moving forward in July.
Likewise.
All right, you want to close?